Carl Jung's The Red Book is a unique work, both for its depth and the intimate nature of its content. Written during a phase of intense existential crisis, the book represents Jung's deep dive into his unconscious, where he documents visions, symbols, and inner dialogues that arise from his psychic exploration. The work emerged from a period Jung referred to as a confrontation with the unconscious, where he willingly faced his anxieties, fears, and mysterious experiences that challenged his rational understanding. He used these experiences as a way to investigate himself, and in doing so, he began a process of discovering the nature of the human psyche that reverberates in his theories. As he explored the complexity of his own mind, Jung identified universal forces that he believed are present in all of us. These forces, represented by archetypes and symbols, were seen as essential aspects of the psyche, allowing him to formulate theories about the collective unconscious and personality development. The Red Book, therefore, serves as an inspiring guide for those who seek to understand their true essence and achieve a deeper level of self-knowledge, offering insights that transform fears and doubts into sources of self-discovery. For those interested in this process of individuation that Jung describes in the Red Book, it's possible to deepen this discovery with practical guidance. In my ebook Alchemy and Archetypes, Exploring Inner Transformation Through Jungian Psychology, you'll find exercises and insights to begin exploring your own psyche based on Jung's concept. Link in the pinned comment. In the Red Book, Carl Jung documents an intense inner journey where he confronts his own demons and discovers hidden aspects of his psyche. This path follows the universal archetype of the hero's journey, a symbolic path of self-discovery where the individual is called to confront the unknown, overcome trials, and return transformed. In Jung's case, this journey is more than a narrative. It's a psychic and spiritual experience that he lives through and records in visions and dreams. He encounters archetypal figures such as the Old Wise Man, an inner mentor symbolizing the wisdom of the unconscious, and the Divine Child, representing renewal and the creative potential within each of us. This process, rich in symbolism and complexity, reflects Jung's struggle to understand and integrate all parts of his psyche, a process he calls individuation. According to Jung, individuation is the development of an authentic and whole personality. This process happens when we confront the layers of the unconscious, the parts we reject or fear but that, in fact, contain fundamental truths about who we are. It's a path that, according to Jung, anyone seeking full self-realization must follow. However, he warns that this journey isn't easy and requires courage, as it forces us to abandon the false identities we build to please others and protect ourselves from past hurts. Jung's experience in the Red Book becomes a powerful metaphor for personal transformation, a constant challenge to balance light and shadow, rationality and intuition, ego and self. Throughout his work, he teaches us that the true self can only be found when we accept the call to explore the unknown within us. He shows us that the trials and encounters with dark figures in the unconscious are not mere obstacles but opportunities to become someone more complete and resilient. Each stage in the hero's path, as Jung describes, brings the individual closer to their authentic self and clarifies their purpose and role in the world. By inspiring us to recognize our own hero's journey, Jung invites us to consider how our crises and moments of doubt may be the beginning of a larger transformation. The Red Book thus becomes an invitation for each of us to face our uncertainties and explore our psyche with courage, transforming vulnerabilities and fears into portals of growth and connection with a truer self. In the Red Book, Jung deeply explores the concept of the shadow, the repressed and unknown aspects of our personality that harbor everything we consider shameful, inadequate, or frightening about ourselves. The shadow is formed by impulses, emotions, and personality traits we learn to reject or hide, whether to meet social expectations or protect our self-image. However, Jung teaches us that ignoring these aspects doesn't make them disappear. Instead, it makes them more powerful, influencing our behavior in unconscious ways. Jung believed that true freedom and personal growth can only be achieved when we are willing to face and integrate our shadow. In the Red Book, he narrates his experiences of confronting his own fears, doubts, and weaknesses, illustrating how these repressed parts, when unacknowledged, can lead to self-sabotage and anxiety. He shows us that the shadow has an autonomous nature and often manifests in moments of disproportionate anger, envy, or harsh judgment of others. These signs indicate that something within our unconscious is asking to be recognized and integrated. If noticing and integrating these aspects of the shadow resonates with you, the ebook Alchemy and Archetypes offers practical self-analysis exercises to help identify these aspects in daily life. It's a guide for those who seek to recognize their hidden potentials and unlock the energy that the shadow may be blocking. Click the link in the first comment. Facing the shadow is a challenging process, but Jung assures us that it's an essential step for genuine self-knowledge. When we dare to explore these repressed aspects, we begin to see that they are not only negative but also carry positive qualities and potentials that we have ignored. For example, a person who represses their anger may find that by accepting it, they develop the ability to be assertive and set healthy boundaries in relationship. This process of integration brings forth a more balanced and conscious self. Jung inspires us to see that accepting the shadow is accepting the totality of our being. He suggests that by integrating these aspects, we become more authentic and empathetic people, capable of understanding life's complexities without fear. The shadow, therefore, is not only something to fear but a source of strength and self-understanding that can free us from unconscious behavior patterns. The Red Book invites us to embrace this shadow work as a fundamental part of the individuation process and the path to the true self. Synchronicity is a fascinating concept Jung developed to describe events connected by meaning rather than cause. Rather than being mere coincidences, Jung saw these moments as significant occurrences that reflect a correspondence between what is happening in our inner world and the external world. In the Red Book, Jung describes how he began to notice meaningful patterns in his inner discoveries, especially during his experiences with figures and symbols that appeared unexpectedly in his daily life and seemed to have specific messages. Jung considered synchronicity a phenomenon revealing how we are deeply connected to something greater than ourselves, to a collective unconscious that links our psyche to the universe in ways we cannot fully explain. This concept is especially powerful for those on an inner journey, as it suggests that, in some way, the universe responds to our process of self-knowledge and transformation. The awareness of synchronicities can guide us to the true self, offering insights and affirmations when we need them most. In everyday life, synchronicity may appear in situations that at first seem like mere coincidences. For instance, someone seeking answers to a personal issue might suddenly encounter a book, a person, or a situation that provides exactly the guidance needed. These moments often evoke a feeling of "this can't just be luck," leading us to reflect on the presence of a greater intelligence at work in the universe, responding to our internal call. Jung inspires us to cultivate a sensitivity to recognize and interpret these meaningful experiences instead of dismissing them as random coincidences. He invites us to reflect on what specific events may symbolize in our journey of self-discovery. This practice of attending to hidden meanings helps us connect with our intuition and gives deeper significance to our experiences. In the Red Book, this sensitivity is presented as a form of communication between the conscious and the unconscious, providing a clearer direction for those seeking a deeper understanding of themselves and the world. In the Red Book, Jung explores the power of images and symbols as a direct means to access the unconscious. For him, these symbols are not merely inventions of the mind but manifestations of profound and universal aspects of the psyche that reveal latent forces, conflicts, and potentials. Jung teaches us that when we interact with these images, we are actually dialoguing with aspects of ourselves that we often repress or ignore, yet that subtly and powerfully affect our choices and emotions. Jung describes, in the Red Book, his visions and encounters with archetypal figures representing essential facets of the psyche. Some of these figures, like the sage or the warrior, embody protective or guiding forces, while others, like the child or the beast, may represent repressed potentials and primal instincts. These symbols emerge not only to show us our vulnerabilities but also to reveal hidden strengths that we can integrate. For example, a dream of a broken bridge may symbolize a fear of facing changes or challenges in life. Meanwhile, the image of an eagle soaring over mountains might reflect a desire to view life from a new perspective, to gain freedom, or even to connect with something greater. Carl Jung developed the technique of active imagination to consciously interact with these images. The practice involves actively visualizing symbols that appear in recurring dreams or thoughts and initiating a dialogue with them. For instance, if someone repeatedly dreams of a dark forest, they might explore the image through active imagination, asking themselves what that forest represents in terms of feelings or situations in their waking life. The forest could symbolize the unknown, unresolved issues, or a desire to reconnect with primal aspects of one's own nature. For those wanting to explore this dialogue, Jung suggests careful observation of one's own dreams and noting recurring images or symbols. Ask yourself, what feelings does this image evoke? What could it symbolize in my life? This kind of reflection can provide valuable insights, bringing unconscious patterns to light and helping to better understand what lies hidden in one's psyche. The Red Book invites us to embrace this symbolic path as a way to reach the true self, integrating these elements into the construction of a deeper and more balanced identity. The more open we are to recognizing and interpreting the symbols that emerge in our lives, the closer we are to understanding our purpose and the forces shaping our existence. At the core of Jung's theory is the process of individuation, which he considers the ultimate realization of the true self. This process is the path to connecting the ego, our conscious identity, to the self, a fuller and deeper version of who we are, encompassing both the conscious and the unconscious. In the Red Book, Jung describes his own experience of individuation, confronting symbols, emotions, and archetypes that challenged him to go beyond his limited self-image. This process involves the confrontation and integration of aspects like the shadow, archetypal figures, and personal symbols, allowing the ego to recognize and harmonize these elements into the whole that is the self. Individuation is a long and often complex journey. Jung warns that it requires courage, as we must shed the masks and social roles we've built over a lifetime and face our repressed fears, frustrations, and desires. For example, someone conditioned to please others might discover, through individuation, a genuine desire to live more authentically, shedding external expectations. This transformative process allows the individual to become who they truly are, rather than continuing to be what others expect. Jung believes that by connecting the ego to the self, we find a source of energy and inner peace, as we begin to live in alignment with a deeper truth. He compares individuation to a spiritual journey in which the encounter with the self brings a sense of wholeness, of being in harmony with all parts of oneself. This process, described in the Red Book, is not only a psychological development but also a spiritual fulfillment. Upon completing this integration, the individual reaches a state of inner balance, where light and shadow, reason and intuition coexist in harmony. For those wishing to start their own individuation process, Jung suggests practices like honest reflection on automatic behaviors and dream journaling, which reveal unconscious themes and symbols. Individuation is an ongoing commitment to self-knowledge and acceptance of one's unknown aspect. With each step, it brings us closer to a more authentic and meaningful life, where the true self can fully express itself. The essence of the Red Book lies in exploring the unconscious as a path to personal transformation. Although highly symbolic and introspective, Jung believed that its teachings could be applied practically in everyday life, helping us develop a closer, more harmonious relationship with ourselves. The key to this lies in practices that facilitate self-knowledge and strengthen our ability to integrate emotions, shadows, and intuitions into our conscious lives. Jung valued dream journaling as an essential practice for understanding the unconscious. Dreams are windows into hidden aspects of the mind, and by recording them daily, we begin to identify recurring themes and symbols that carry meaningful messages. For instance, someone who frequently dreams of water may be exploring deep emotions or facing feelings that need to be integrated. By regularly observing and interpreting these symbols, we gain a clearer understanding of the hidden challenges and potentials within our psyche, drawing us closer to a more authentic and complete self. Jung taught that intense emotions, such as anger, fear, or frustration, are direct gateways to the unconscious. He recommended that, when experiencing disproportionate reactions, individuals try to identify what is being triggered or projected. For example, a strong irritation with a particular person may indicate that they represent an aspect of our own shadow, something we deny or repress in ourselves. Asking, "Why does this bother me so much?" can open pathways to self-knowledge and diminish the power of automatic reaction. Synchronicities, or meaningful coincidences, serve as signs indicating a connection between what we experience internally and what happens around us. Jung believed that being attentive to these events helps us feel in tune with the universe, following a flow that guides us. When we notice these coincidences, like thinking of someone just before they call us, we are encouraged to reflect on what these connections might mean on our path to self-awareness. This is an exercise in sensitivity and openness to mystery, helping us interpret the world and our desires in a more profound way. Active imagination is a powerful practice Jung recommended, in which individuals consciously visualize or dialogue with spontaneously arising images, figures, or emotions. By visualizing and interacting with these images, we can learn more about hidden aspects of our psyche. For instance, when feeling blocked in some area of life, we can evoke that feeling in a visualization, allowing it to manifest as a figure or scene. We then dialogue with that image to discover what it symbolizes and how we can integrate it. This practice allows us to explore our inner content without censorship, making the unconscious more accessible and less intimidating. For Jung, individuation is an ongoing process, and he believed that practices like meditation and reflection are essential to strengthen this path. Setting aside time daily to reflect on our attitudes, dreams, and emotions helps us track our own growth and transformation. Questions like, "What aspects of my shadow do I need to integrate today?" or "How can I live more authentically?" help maintain a focus on building an integral and truthful identity. This daily practice transforms self-knowledge into a living, constant practice. The Red Book inspires us to make self-knowledge a daily practice. Jung teaches us that deep psychology is not just theory but a practical path to a more authentic self. By applying these teachings to our lives, we not only transform how we see the world and ourselves but also experience a sense of wholeness and harmony with our own essence. Ultimately, the inner work Jung proposes is a journey of self-discovery that empowers us to live with more awareness, meaning, and purpose. In the Red Book, Jung inspires us to explore our unconscious and recognize the parts of ourselves we often ignore, both fears and hidden potentials. For him, the true self only manifests when we integrate all aspects of our psyche, accepting both light and shadow. This integration frees us from external pressures and allows us to live more authentically, in harmony with who we truly are. Jung sees this self-discovery process as a life mission. When we embrace our essence with honesty, we find a genuine balance and feel more connected to our purpose and to the world around us. The Red Book leaves us with this final message. Becoming who you truly are requires courage, but the result is a life filled with meaning, self-compassion, and clarity. If you want to take the first steps toward living more authentically, check out my ebook Alchemy and Archetypes, Exploring Inner Transformation Through Jungian Psychology. It offers exercises and reflections inspired by Jungian psychology to help you on this journey. And if you enjoyed this content, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell for more self-knowledge and personal development tips. This way, you can stay up to date and not miss any new videos.